My name is Rick Lambie, and as a part of our capital appeal, the events team thought it would be good if we had some physical tours to kind of take people around and instead of just showing you presentations and pictures, what's going to change, kind of show you and kind of describe what we're proposing to change. So this is the facility design tour. So we did one last Sunday, and we're going to do one on Wednesday night as well. But again, the intent of this is to try and help you translate what you've seen pictures of, both 2D and 3D kind of renderings, but actually kind of show you some of the different things that are actually going to change within the facility and give you a chance to ask questions. So the plan for today is, before we do the tours, we get to listen to me talk for 15 minutes or so. I'm going to run back through the presentation just so we all get on the same page. I think we have 5 different spots throughout the church to talk about the specific changes that are going to be made in that study. That turned into a project proposal, and then we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about the timeline next steps, talk about the Salem heritage and history. While we're excited about the change, we also want to make sure that we preserve the heritage and history that is Salem, and so we're keeping a list of the types of things that we need to maintain throughout this project. And then we'll have some time here for some Q&A before we kind of break up and go into separate groups. So again, just a little bit of the history of where this project came from. This all started with the mission assessment that we started in the fall of 2015 when Pastor Dick arrived. And the number of input components we had to that were listed up there. And the results really talked about how do we summarize our strengths and our weaknesses, and then how do we improve. We talked about coming up with the mission and vision and the ministry priorities, guiding principles, talked about structure and governance, administrative and operational improvements, and then the last, which is why we're here today, was there was a team put together to focus on facilities and property. How do we make sure that the facilities that we have help us to achieve the other things on that list as well. So we renewed the vision and the mission. So if you haven't seen them lately, these were the mission that came out of that vision assessment process from the 2015 time frame. So very similar to what we had before, just a few minor adjustments. So Salem will be a vibrant, welcoming Lutheran community that, through the grace of Jesus Christ, is connected within by love and reaching out in hope to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with one another, the community, and the world. So that's the vision of what we want to do, and how we're going to go about doing that is we're going to continue growing people in Christ through dynamic and meaningful worship, and prayer is a vital core of fostering our sense of belonging, supportive relationships that meet the personal needs of individuals and families at all stages of life, sharing the gospel to the community and the world through both word and deed. So that's really why we're here. We're going to talk about a facility, but the facility only exists to support that vision and that mission, right? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that the facility is a tool and it will help us deliver our vision and our mission, and be welcoming, help with worship, and helping with learning and growing. So as a result of the mission assessment process back in 2015, there was a facilities and property team created. You can see the team member there, co-chairs Tim and Jared. I was on the team and with the team as well. The first thing that team did was selected an architect, but then we conducted a facility needs study with that architect to kind of go through and look at our facility and give us an assessment of where we need some help. We'll talk a little bit more about that facility needs study here in a minute. After that, we held a constitutional vote to approve a capital campaign back in October of 2017. Since then, we have interviewed some consultants that specialize in church fundraising and selected one of those consultants to help us with our capital appeal. We've launched the capital appeal, and the facilities team continued their work. We received pre-approval for a loan. That was done to determine the amount of financing that might be available to us in the event that we need it. So hopefully we'll get it. We'll raise enough money through the capital. All right, so now some more details on the facility needs assessment. So you guys are here quite a bit, so I think you probably have a good feel for this. But the Americans with Disabilities Act compliance. So there are a number of areas of our facility that are not compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so again, in order to be a welcoming church, we think that we should address those areas so we're more welcoming to all that might want to come and attend here at Salem and participate. There are a number of systems
So these are the things that maybe you don't see as much, but you probably feel it when it gets really hot in the summer and the air conditioning isn't working like it should. But we have a number of systems that are nearing the end of life. Air conditioning, we have a number of, our air conditioning system is kind of unique here. It's a centralized system, but it's also decentralized. We have a number of window units that are used. And so the feedback from the architect is, that's nice, but those are very inefficient, and we should really look to replace those and have kind of a centralized system and update our controls as well. So it's a little bit difficult to figure out trying to get the AC on and off in different areas, and so the plan would be then to update the AC and the controls as well. Our electrical service is 600 amp, which is at capacity, which means we're kind of limited, so we'll be looking at upgrading that. Sanctuary lighting is poor, fire alarm system is outdated, and there are no sprinklers. Relative to sprinklers, we did get some good news. Usually when you do a building project, you're required to bring the whole building up to code, which would mean we would have to sprinkle the sanctuary. Fortunately, since we're not making major changes in the sanctuary, the lighting and the sound and the other changes we're talking about are considered major changes, so the fire marshal is not going to force us to sprinkle the sanctuary. So, the sprinklers would be limited probably to the new areas that we're done. So just a few more pictures. If you get in the boiler room downstairs, you can kind of see kind of what that looks like. If you look up to the right, once you've been there, we've got some insulation that's coming loose. We've got our old control system, which was really done as a vacuum system for the AC through copper pipes and kind of a vacuum system. When those pipes generate leaks or get holes in them, it doesn't work quite right, so we move to a more electronic control system for the AC. That'll be more reliable, just more of the pipes in the boiler room, and one of the pumps. Okay, another aspect of the facility needs assessment is looking at the building envelope. So the flat roof is nearing the end of life. Good news is the shingled roof, the pitched roof, is in good shape and does not need to be repaired. But the flat roof is nearing the end of life. And if you've noticed in the lounge by the windows, there's some leakage that's happening over there. We've been trying to repair that, but we're afraid we're going to continue to see more of that as that roof nears its end of life. So we need to get that replaced. Windows and doors need painting or replacing. The wood siding, fascia, soffit, and the beams need to be replaced, and the gutters are leaking as well. So there's another picture of the flat roof that's nearing the end of life. There's a picture of the flat roof with a pipe on it. From a previous construction project, I presume. There's a picture of some of the gutters. Again, and then you can also see some of the wood facing that the paint is starting to peel on pretty good. So either you can repaint that or reface it with some aluminum maintenance-free type of front. There's some soffits that are up underneath, so you can see again either need to be painted or replaced with aluminum. More gutters and downspouts, you can kind of see the paint coming up the gutters. More of the flat roof. Okay, and then just kind of a few of the other areas the facility needs assessment covered. A lot of our finishes are outdated. Building's not friendly to new visitors, locked doors, inadequate signage, uninviting route to the sanctuary, inadequate gathering space, dated technologies. And we've been working on some of these kind of as we go here. I know we've spent some time working on trying to get some improved signage. We've got some new signs out front and so forth, but there's still work to be done there as well. Where we go. And the preschool entrance is kind of off to the side. It looks like kind of a side door. If you really don't know how to find it, it's not the easiest thing to find. So it's a little bit interesting. So again, is that really the welcoming, friendly environment that we're trying to create? So here's our elevator. This is kind of our main entrance downstairs from the back parking lot. You can see we have a sign there that says sanctuary this way. If you know where, a lot of us know where we're going, but if you don't, you have to catch that little sign and wander around the corner there to the right, and then there's another sanctuary that says, okay, go up here. So I think we're just kind of pointing out the route to the sanctuary, if you're not familiar with it, is not the easiest thing to find, right? And then you get to go up the nice stairs to the sanctuary, nice pretty stairs. So. Then the dividers in the social hall downstairs, one of my favorite things. I really like to see keep these, they've been around for a long time. think I'm going to lose that fight, so.
You can buy a kitchen.
Randy said I can buy from the church so that I can put them in my house. There you go, honey. There's an addition to the basement. Okay, so that was a facility needs study. So from there, we worked with an architect and went through a couple iterations and basically settled on a couple of floor plans, a couple of concepts that we've been presenting to you. And so this is the lower level floor plan. Okay, I'm going to point. This isn't going to work very good. So the first thing we're addressing is, again, we've got our main parking lot out here, and so our entrance today is kind of in this kind of area here. So we're going to make that entrance much larger, and this area is going to be opened up and go out into where the circle drive is today, and then that'll be one of our stations, and I'll be manning that one. So I'll kind of show you how far that's coming out, and you've got an idea. We're also going to enclose the courtyard, which exists today. And the idea here is to have more gathering space, but then also create a visible easy path to the sanctuary. So we're going to add some steps here along this wall and then up here. So as you come in the door, you kind of get an idea of if the sanctuary is upstairs, where you need to go to the sanctuary. The other thing we're going to do is this will create kind of a single entrance for us. The preschool entrance will be over here, so it will be enclosed now, but you'll come through the main entrance and then go over to the preschool. And then we'll have a nursery area over here. We'll have some drop-offs as well, so we'll talk more about that later. We're also going to relocate the offices to the first floor so we can have some reception here. It has line of sight to the door. Right now we have the camera system and the speaker that's there, and so it's not always easy to see if somebody's there. This will be much easier from a line of sight perspective. The doors will remain locked from a security perspective, but we're trying to be more friendly by having a reception area down here. And then once you're in the building, if you need to see one of the staff, you don't have to worry about navigating upstairs and finding your way. We'll have a lot of good signage and lobby down here. There is an allocation of funds for kitchen upgrades. We haven't exactly figured out what that is, but there are some money set aside for those upgrades. We're going to have some new finishes in the preschool and the fellowship hall. And yes, the accordion dividers. And then we're going to add a family restroom, a handicap accessible ADA family restroom down here as well, which would be behind what used to be the youth room. It's in the back. Again, most folks enter our church from the back since that's where all the parking is. So we want to make this a more welcoming entrance. So we would still have the overhang, but it would be moved out considerably to allow for additional building. As you walk into that new entrance, it would look something like this. So you can kind of see the stairs over to the right, going up to the sanctuary. You can see kind of the welcome desk there, and then we've got a balcony from the upstairs second floor lounge that would then look over that. This would be a nice, the entrance would be a nice two-story, kind of big open feeling as you walk into that entrance. Now, if you turn around and look back, if you walk into the entrance a little bit and turn around and look back, that's what it looks like. So a lot of windows, so lots of light coming in. Again, very two-story, very open, airy kind of space. So good space for gathering conversations before and after various events. There's the fellowship lounge. So our existing coffee area is expanded, so we're going to take over the closet that is next to that and turn that into kind of one long countertop there, so we can do coffee and donuts area over there. We're going to take part of the wall out that's right in front of the elevator to kind of open that space up a little bit, and then we'll put some tables and chairs for folks to be able to socialize and have some coffee and refreshments. And you can also see kind of the railing on the left-hand side where we'll have a balcony that we'll be looking at that lower area. Okay, so that is the concept that we're working from right now. And of course, everybody wants to know what's that going to cost. So about $2.9 million is the current estimate. And then that will be fleshed out in more detail as we get through more of the detailed planning. But right now we're at $2.9 million. Okay, so kind of timeline of next steps. So kind of where we've been sharing the proposed plans since May. In June we had the congregational vote to approve the fundraising. And we are now in the midst of our July through December, our capital campaign. We're also in the process of getting a special use permit from the city of Peoria. So as part of improving our signage, one of the things we're talking about doing is replacing the sign out front with a new digital sign and changing that. So in order to do that and do some of the other work, we have to have a special use permit from the city. So good news is we went down a couple Wednesdays ago and we passed the zoning board approvals, and so now we need to go to the city council for their final approval. So hopefully we will be on the consent agenda, which is just a whole long list of things that we'll yes on. And we'll get our students. So we're still working on that. The architect has been very helpful, and then we went down and sat through the zoning board meeting as well, so that did well. So again, I mentioned that these are just rough plans. So once we get through the capital campaign, figure out what the available funding looks like, we'll be getting back with the architect to put together a final proposal, and then we will then review that final proposal with the congregation. And the congregation will vote on the final proposal as well as the specific funding plan that we have as well. So again, we're not moving forward with anything besides the capital appeal. We're not actually starting the project until we get the final detail plans. That's reviewed with the congregation, a detailed financing plan, and that gets put in front of the congregation as well. And the congregation will have to approve. So one more approval before we actually start the project. And then once we do that approval, then we'll be filing construction drawings, and then the architect will start the bidding process. And then if all goes well and goes to plan, then the earliest we would probably be in a position to begin construction would be October of 2019, with an anticipated completion date of March of 2020. So very rough timelines, but that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Okay, we talked a little bit earlier about the Salem heritage and history, and while we're excited about the changes and some of the new things we want to do, we also want to make sure that we preserve that heritage and that history that we have. And so we started to maintain a list of what are the things that we need to preserve. If anybody has any additions to that, please let me or anybody on the facility design team know. But some of the things that we've listed so far are the large sculpture on the wall near the downstairs entrance, the endowment tree, the altar top, the chancel floor, cornerstone from the original building, the old sign out front. Somebody said, well, can we repurpose the old sign? So we asked the architect, can we take that old sign out front once we have a new one, and can we do something with that? And they're thinking maybe we can reposition it out back or something to that effect. So we're looking at that possibility as well. But again, continuing to look for input, people that have been here a number of years, what are some of the things that you're passionate about that you think we need to preserve, to again make sure that we are honoring our tradition and our history while